I played my strongest game ever on chess.com, defeating Iran's top grandmaster with 92.8% accuracy. He is ranked 18th in the entire continent of Asia, and he's actually ranked 41 in the entire world. And I'm about to show you the game. Now, the game starts off with e4. I'm playing with the white pieces. At the time of this game, his rating was actually 3021 and my rating was only 2496. So he plays d6. This by itself is a pert defense, but after I played knight f3, just following regular development principles, he plays knight to d7. And this was already an indication that he's trying to play a Philidor's setup. So I just kept on developing my pieces. I played knight c3. I have 2 pieces developed. I need to get 2 more pieces developed. I need to castle my king. That's what I'm thinking. Now, this game was actually a very quick game. All of these moves that we were playing it very, very quickly. I'm going to show you the game exactly once I finish showing you this analysis. So he plays pawn to e5, putting a pawn in the center of the board. And then I played the move d4, immediately striking the center of the board. And notice how he already blocks in his bishop. So that's the reason why I thought it was a good time to do a pawn break. So he developed his knight. I took the pawn on e5, and then he took. Now, taking the pawn on e5 allowed his bishop to get developed, but now I'm able to just continue with my development because I'm not trying to have him forcing me to moving my pieces more than once. So now I have 3 of my pieces developed. I'm just trying to castle my king to safety and then start my attack. So he played bishop to e7. Notice nothing crazy is happening as yet. Everything is going to start in the middle game. So I castled my king, he castled his king, and then I played the move h3. Now, this is the first controversial move. I'm sure you guys always hear me say, don't play unnecessary pawn moves in the opening stage of the game. But again, at the top level, it's very important that you understand the principles of chess so that way you know when to break those principles. Here's why I played h3. I actually wanted to develop my pieces, but I had to play h3 first. Now, the reason why I played h3 was I wanted to put my bishop on g5, but then if I put my bishop on g5, he's just going to chase it away. So I saw this diagonal and I was like, okay, this is a very good diagonal for my bishop. But then if I just put my bishop on e3, he's now going to play knight g4. And we already know that bishops are better than knights. So I wouldn't want to move my bishop to e3, and then he moves his knight to attack my bishop, and then I have to move my knight again. So that's why I played h3. So that way, once I put my bishop on e3, there's no knight that is able to attack it. Now, here, he plays c6. And again, I have to be careful because if I'm just blindly following principles and then play bishop to e3, he was actually going to play the move b5, which is forcing my bishop to move. And for example, if I'm not careful and I pull my bishop back, he plays b4, chasing away my knight and then already winning my pawn. So I had to do another prophylactic move. By the way, that's what this h3 move was. It's called prophylaxis. Prophylaxis is seeing the opponent's idea and preventing it before he does it. So because he plays c6, I played the move a4, preventing him from playing b5. So maybe you're like, you're making so many unnecessary pawn moves. I have a reason for making my pawn moves. You're making your pawn moves and not even knowing that you're breaking principles. But anyways, after a4, he plays a5 because he wanted to ensure that he has enough space on the queen side. For example, I could also play a5 myself, and then I would have had a lot of space on the queen side. So he played a5, preventing me from doing this. And then finally, I was able to develop my last piece. Again, I want you to notice, I am not moving the same piece more than once. I am moving a new piece each time. You'll never see me move the same piece and then move it again, unless we have a reason, obviously. So I didn't have any reason here, so I just kept on following principles. He played queen to c7, taking his queen off this file. Maybe he wants to put his rook there, but then I played rook to e1, a new piece. I'm still not moving these pieces. Those pieces are already doing something, and I need to bring pieces in the game that are not doing anything. So here he played h6. h6 was a prophylactic move because he was trying to prevent like my knight or my bishop from going to g5, but h6 was actually an inaccuracy. I played queen to e2 in this position, and here I'm simply connecting my rooks. Like, that's the principles in the opening. You develop your pieces, you castle your king, you connect your rooks. Now, once you notice that your rooks are pointing towards each other like this, that's already a good sign that you finished your development. So he played rook to e8, moving his rook in the center of the board. And again, no, I'm not able to play knight g5 and attack f7. But I didn't even start my attack as yet. I simply played the move rook to d1. Look on all my pieces. I want you to notice I managed to successfully move every single piece in the game, and I've only moved them once. Now that my development is complete, now I'm going to start looking for targets to attack. Now I'm going to start my attack. He pulls his knight back to f8 because he blocked in his bishop from the start. So he wanted to ensure that he develops his bishop. And I didn't block in any of my pieces, so I was already going for the attack, which is why I played queen to d2 here. Now, the reason why I played queen to d2, I'm not going to lie, I was trying to set up some sacrifices on h6. And this is where things gets crazy, because obviously he's not going to allow this. He saw both of my bishops pointing towards his king, so he finally developed his bishop to neutralize the threat. So no, I was not able to sacrifice on h6. Plus, he was threatening to swing his rook in the game and attack my queen. Now, I want to teach you guys something, and this is something that I've learned from Grandmaster Igor Smirnov, and he says to take is a mistake. And I want you guys to pay attention to every single trades that I made in this game. I want you to notice when I decided to trade pieces. And again, this game was played very, very quickly. Now, I did not take on e6 because if you're ever going to make a trade and it is going to help your opponent's pieces to get active, then that's not a good trade. So if I had taken on e6, his knight would have simply took, and then I'm just helping the guy's knight to get better. So I did not make that trade. I decided to simply pull my bishop back. But then he plays knight to g6, increasing the activity of his knight. Now, in this position, I still need to find targets to attack. I still need to activate my pieces. So I decided to play queen to e2. Like, I really wanted this diagonal for my bishop, but I didn't want to be the one who take his bishop. So now that his knight is no longer guarding his bishop, I was like, okay, now I want to trade. So he finally swing his rook over in the game, and then I play the move bishop c4. I want him to take my bishop, because if he takes my bishop, then it's going to be helping my queen to be on a better square. So again, to take is a mistake. Only trade when it improves the position of your pieces. Now, obviously, he did not trade. He decided to play the move bishop to b4. Now, I had to be very careful here, by the way, because for one, he's pinning my knight to my rook, and my knight is the only defender of this e4 pawn. So he's actually threatening to win a pawn here. Now look on my next move. I took on e6. Only trade when it improves the activity of your pieces, or if it decreases the activity of the opponent's piece. So for example, I knew if he takes with the pawn, that's just ugly looking double pawn. So nobody's going to take the pawn there. However, the move that he actually played in the game was rook takes e6. And then you're probably saying, how did this improve your position? I actually seen before that the rook was guarding the rook on d8. Now that the rook is no longer guarding the rook on d8, now I'm able to take on d8. And again, you're probably saying, how is this improving the activity of your piece? You're going to see now. Once his queen takes, now it allows my rook to get access to the open file. That's what I was thinking in the game. And then here he played the move, rook to d6. And obviously, I'm not going to take. Because if I take his rook, I'm helping his queen to get to a better square. Remember, to take is a mistake. So because of that, I decided to play the move rook to d3 here. I was like, I'm not going to take your rook. You take my rook. So he did take the rook. He took the rook. I take back with the queen, offering an endgame. And I know that grandmasters are very strong at endgame. So this was actually a very risky decision. He decided to go into the endgame. Now the position is equal, and we're now in the endgame. Anytime you're in the endgame, it's very important that you change your thought process. All of a sudden, this is how I want you to be thinking. Every move that you play in the endgame should be, am I attacking the opponent's pawn? Am I pushing one of my passed pawn? Am I activating my king? If you're not doing one out of those three things in the endgame, then what you're doing in the endgame is bad. So let me show you how I did this. So after I take, he pulls his knight back to d7, While he plays knight d7, he's trying to attack my weak pawns. Keep in mind, my knight is the only defender of this pawn, and his bishop is already attacking my knight. So if he's able to eliminate my knight, then there will be nothing guarding this pawn. I saw that though, and then I played king to f1. Why king to f1? I'm activating my king. So he plays f6. He's trying to get his king in the game as well. And then I got my king in the game. And then he pulls his knight back to f8 because he also wanted to get his knight in the game to attack my pawn. So here I pull my knight back. The purpose of this knight move was to maneuver to c4 to also attack his weak pawn. So he plays knight e6. I played knight c4, attacking his weak pawn. He plays knight c5, targeting my weak pawn as well. And this was where I made my first mistake. So the move that I made here was I took on c5. Bishops are better than knights, and he take back. And now he has the bishop high up the two knights. However, the move that I played after was knight to a2. Now here's what this does. First of all, there's a drawback here. My knight was guarding a4. Now it's no longer guarding a4. So he was able to win a pawn. I saw this though, because what I did, I managed to get back my bishop. And then once he takes, now I hit him with knight a5. Where in the end game, all we're doing is attacking pawns, and that's already a fork. So now he has to lose one of his pawns. He took, I take, and then he plays pawn to b3. This was the first huge mistake that I saw him make. And then the moment I saw him make this move, I was like, I'm gonna win this game. So he moves the pawn. Again, it just looks like a regular position, but look on my next move. I played knight to c5 here. I want you to take a look on my opponent's knight. His knight is actually trapped and has nowhere to go. So my plan from here was to simply move my king over and simply capture his knight, because his knight has nowhere to go. Now in this position, he didn't really have a lot of options to do. Again, it was a quick game, and then he pulls his knight back to a4, which is just a huge blunder, and then I'm just gonna win. He should have at least tried to get his king in the game to attack my knight, but then I would have just catch his knight. So he pulls his knight back. I quickly saw it, and that was where he resigns. Now take a look on the actual game that I played against him, because now you know exactly what I was thinking of. Yo, I'm playing a 3000 Grandmaster. What the heck? What have I gotten myself into? Yo! Yo! Let's keep going. That guy was 3000 and he was a GM. Let's keep going. Two things. If you want access to my exclusive material that I don't post online, I'm going to leave a link in the description. You can get it for $5. But if you want to join my coaching academy where you get access to one-on-one coaching, a link is in my description for that as well. See you in the next one.